the program was going on. Sorry for that obstruction. That is what we see. The attack of the Janjaweed will always continue. The enemies will always continue to obstruct and disrupt what we are doing. But we will not allow them to stop us. No matter how many times they distract our program, we will continue to come back as many times as possible.
This is from Biafrans Got Talent. We are letting Biafrans know the reason why we should remember those who gave their lives for us, those who died that we may live.
You died to end my suffering. You died fighting for my freedom. Your blood is the seed of redemption. You are my inspiration.
The deed no wrong with them, military shots at them. 67 to 70, we remember them. 2016, 38 May, memory still lives in our mind till today. Wonder why they refuse to publicize the genocide. The world media turn blind eyes to our plight. It's time to arise, land of the rising sun. Let's rise one more time, let's rise.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes, those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Tell them I touched me, oh. Remember when me tell you say I touched me, oh. Yeah, I remember that what I called as a prosperous. But the way would you go like a papa nuku? But then they were bonito. Me tell you what I look pandi, what pandi samiro. Me tell you what I day. For me the fall and the rest of man I tell you what I am. Me never give up. Me tell them
heroes, I want to promise you something today. We must fight together, no retreat and no surrender. We must hold them down till the end of time. The most important thing is that we will restore Biafra. May your soul rest in peace.
And I look up to the sky with tears in my eyes for other Biafrans and for freedom had to die. We will never forget you as the days go by. You are always in my heart, we'll never be apart. They fought for our freedom, they died for our freedom. They fought the Nigerian soldiers in the war front without food, without guns, for our freedom, for our life, for our own good, for our children. We love them, our heroes, we want them.
My heart bleeds when I saw them slain. Where will I be now if not then? They will remain indelible in my heart forever, 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 and ever, and ever, and ever.
We serve in your plantation, and the way you paid us back with your bloody starvation. We bled in our history that the death of my people is a mystery. No going back till we get to a victory. I had a voice now call for vengeance. I never get bombed, I'ma blow like a vengeance.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes, those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Ipoja massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Where will I be now if not you? You died at Mali.
They were starved to death because of our freedom, and they paid the debt for our freedom. Flag high for those that died in the genocide, fighting for you and I. There is pain in the heart, we bleeding inside, tears in the eyes, so I'm falling here.
This is for my fallen heroes. Give them a motivation, people. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Cause we to be a cast, I need to be a us. If we did not retire,
They paid the ultimate price.
the air. Never be afraid. March on, cause we are more than conquerors. Yeah, you know what it is. We must revenge, and we must stand to represent who we are.
Welcome back. Sorry, we were kicked out before while we are in the program. I don't know what happened, and the program suddenly stopped, and we had to come back again and continue from where we stopped. So just as I was saying, wherever you are, we must continue to pay attention to the time that we're in. Most importantly, this time we must have to make sure we continue to pray for our Supreme Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and do everything we can to keep his legacy alive. Keep the legacy of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, no matter what you hear, no matter what you see. Do not be discouraged. Do not be dismayed. Another thing we must do is to continue to support the Liberation Army of Biafra. As it is today, you know they are facing a very heavy challenge. They are facing a very serious attack. So we must continue to support them the best way we can. Don't you ever ignore them or look away and feel it doesn't concern you. The situation concerns every one of us. They are there fighting for you and I, fighting for our nation, and we must continue to pray for them and also support them the best way we can. Never you give up and never you ignore your own. We will continue to do everything humanly possible to make sure that their interest is also protected, provide for them. Any support you can give me, give them that support. They need it now more than ever because our land is under occupation. You can see that the Nigerian government are not relenting. They are trying everything they can to make sure that they destroy our land. They have created so much insecurity, and while we are trying to make our land secure, they continue to introduce more insecurity. Today, I believe we have been vindicated. They cried and they said that sit at home is their problem. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gave a direction which even the Liberation Army obeyed. But what did we see? What we saw was the Nigerian government, they went all out and began to attack the Liberation Army. They waged their all angles from all corners to make sure they destroy our land. But we will not be silent and we will not pretend that we don't see what is happening. And we cannot be able to give up our freedom because of their threat. We will continue to engage, we will continue to take on them in any angle, in any shape, in any way they come. The Liberation Army of Biafra will continue to face them head on. So those of us who are watching from all angles, what we have to do is to also support them. Support the Liberation Army of Biafra any way you can support. Please support them. Support them prayerfully, support them financially, support them with your advice. Anyone you can do, make sure you keep on doing it because our land is under invasion. As we speak, there is a heavy attack going on in our land. And we cannot pretend that this is not happening. No matter how you pretend, it will still be there and it will be haunting all of us. At the end of the day, it is you and I that will pay the price. At the end of the day, it is you and I that will pay the price. If we refuse to do what we are supposed to do, we are going to face the consequence. That is why I am calling on every Biafran, wherever you may be, whatever you will do to see that our land is protected, please do not hesitate to do it. We know they are attacking us from all angles, from all corners, but we will not run away because of the attack. We will continue to do the needful and speak up whenever we can. That is why we have come once again, and we are here to bring to you some of the things that are happening in the Zoological Republic, as we always do. Everything that happens there, we bring it and we show to you what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria. So let us go to their news and see what they have as we proceed on the message of today. We will continue to do our best. All I'm telling you is that as you join us on the program, you still have a role to play. Help us also to share the program so that we can get to those who we need to get to. Help us to share the program. Very important, so that we can reach the people who need to be reached. Don't isolate yourself. Don't allow yourself to be pulled aside. We must continue to do what we have to do to make sure that our voice is heard. So wherever you are, I urge you in the name of Gabian, please join us this evening and pay attention. Let us see what is happening and how we are going to follow them up. You know, when they speak good, we acknowledge it. When they speak their evil and lies, we debunk it. That is what we do. That is the only reason we come to their media, to see the lies they have and debunk them where necessary.
Begin what's trending today with some developments concerning security as Nigerian President Bola Tinubu and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz discussed deepening cooperation on security, power, and infrastructure on a phone call on Wednesday. In a 9-minute call, the two leaders discussed reviving the stalled presidential electricity project involving German conglomerate Siemens and the prospect of Nigeria buying used German helicopters. It is reported that Merz committed to delivering the 2019 Siemens deal that had aimed to deliver up to 11,000 megawatts by 2023, but of course had faced challenges. You will recall that in December 2023, Tinubu had signed an accelerated performance agreement with Merz on the sidelines of COP28. Tinubu also asked his German counterpart to supply Nigeria with used helicopters to boost reconnaissance and intelligence operations in the region. We'll just take one tweet from this, which I think summarizes a lot of people's sentiments towards this development, which is on X from Aproko Senator, who says, "Why go for used helicopters? Can't we afford new ones?" And of course, this is quite a nuanced conversation because the timeline for you to get a brand new helicopter, the cost as well. But on social media, a lot of people, whether researched, informed or not, are saying, it has reached that we are now doing Tokumbo helicopter. Dr. Abasi.
Well, that's to be expected. But the issue is about the Siemens deal. Now, when that was announced, I think 2019, under the Buhari administration, there was a lot of praise for Siemens. That Siemens had helped them in Egypt to take the power supply to a very high level, and that Siemens had very good experience. The question is, okay, we had this presidential power initiative under President Buhari. I don't think they disbanded it, but the Siemens project with Nigeria failed. Why? What happened? Why is it that when some contractors do well in other countries, when they come to Nigeria, we'll be talking about challenges and it's in their failing? So it's okay at a time when power, remains a problem in Nigeria, and some people are saying, well, even in Aso Villa, they are not going to use solar energy, and that's a major legacy by the government. In fact, somebody posted something that at the PACN office, in fact, they were using solar. At the PACN office, so the people that are supposed to give us electricity, they themselves are using solar energy. So if the Tinubu administration is going to return to this and then make sure that that Siemens project gets off the ground and we achieve as much success as the Egyptians have done, then that would make sense. Because electricity, as everyone has said, whether it is Alhaji Aliko Dangote or Dr. Gaji, who was on the same program yesterday, or any man on the street, it's very important to ensure a economic growth. So President Tinubu making that a priority, I think it's a welcome development. Yes, I was also going to say this helicopter thing, that we seem to have a Tokumbo problem in Nigeria, but it is very true. Even the big aircraft that we're using on the domestic market, they are all Tokumbo, second hand and all that. But if we're able to succeed with industrialization, perhaps we'll get to a point around here that we will not be depending on second-hand things. If Nigeria can make its own cars, at least provide some parts, but that's still a long way from now. So we'll make do with Tokumbo. But when we get the helicopter deal from Siemens, there's also the point about maintenance. We have the engineering capacity to maintain all these things that we buy from elsewhere. So that's why Nigeria getting onto the industrialization part, is very important. Although we've been talking about it since the second national development plan, we're still on it now.
Yes. And Rufai, I'll come to you after this, which is a related development. The Nigerian Air Force has taken to social media to showcase the A-29 Super Tucano aircrafts, celebrating how they have enhanced operations and ushered in a new era of precision air warfare and intelligence-driven operations. This is particularly significant given the road to getting the aircrafts into our skies was an uphill battle. If you remember, Nigeria first sought to acquire these aircrafts in 2013, but was blocked by the United States Lee laws that prohibited the US government from providing military assistance to countries accused of gross human rights violations. Well, it was under the first term of President Donald Trump that the US policy shifted, leading to the sale of 12 of these A-29 Super Tucano aircrafts, valued at about $593 million in 2017, and the aircrafts were then delivered in 2021. Well, the video posted by the Nigerian Air Force was met with mixed reactions. While some social media users celebrated the Air Force, were concerned that the nation is yet to showcase more recent and modern defense technology. We'll take a look at the video that has now gone viral. Rufai, I know you like aircrafts and fighter jets, and you like going to military museums and so forth. But can you tie all of these things together? The used helicopters, the Super Tucanos, and the fact that some people are saying that, we'd like to showcase something more modern. Rufai.
Okay. See, it is very sad what Nigeria has become. And when I keep saying that this country has become a joke, people think, it doesn't. You see, when I talk passionately, it's because I think of the dream this country has and the promise it holds. And I think how mediocre we are today. By celebrating Super Tucano, which they touted as the game changer. If you remember the conversation around when we were going to buy the Super Tucano, they said, once it gets to the battlefield, we will make advancements down from the wall. Nothing has been done. We are still having insecurity of the highest order. And then we are having Super Tucano. We have to buy for Nigeria. The shame is there's a plane called GF Thunder 17, made by the Pakistani. It was the Pakistani. You see, it's like a coloration of a MiG. So they started adapting MiGs, just like the Chinese. They made the Chengdu 8, what they call the Chengdu Coffee, and all of that. I don't report during the time of Obasanjo. But for Pakistan to be able to adapt and make planes by this stage, compared to the GDP of Nigeria and Pakistan now, we should be able to at least have a system where we can produce these things locally. Even if it's local, let's make our own Nigerian variation of the MiG. But we've not been able to do that. We are going to buy Super Tucano that Embraer Brazil makes. We make out of America. It is now so bad that after the Super Tucano, afterwards we go to buy more planes. Now we are partnering with Leonardo in this. We able to bring in some planes for us. At the same time, we are looking for second-hand planes. By now, with the ascendancy of Nigeria, we should be partnering and having our own aeronautical department to be able to make these things. Look at what Turkey is doing with Bayraktar and drones. Yes, okay, we have some drones, but they are not as high class as the one Turkey is producing. So for us, it's the shame. And then you are flying, you are shooting bullets and everything, where other countries are using their own made. Pakistan will fly their own J7 Thunder. Go and see what India is doing with the artillery. And it's just that shame that also pervades the air with the Siemens deal. And now is that we don't have a local company that can build infrastructure, that we are depending and rigmaroling around the Siemens deal. Since Abba Kyari passed, that deal was as good as gone. No matter how much the Buhari government tried, even this government tried in the early days, they've not still been able to do anything. And what are we saying? It was probably installed capacity to about 25,000 megawatts. That's what we've been struggling for how many years now, since 2017 till now. Despite the fact that Dr. Mazi were asking, why did it work in Egypt, it didn't work here? Let me remind you, it's not the same Siemens that had to pay back what billions to Nigerian officials. Have we forgotten that deal? I mean, the country is sad.
The conversations will still continue. I'm going to come to you because, all of this is also happening against the backdrop that we're struggling to finance our budgets. So some might say, well, let's make the best of what we have. If it's Super Tucano, if it's Tokumbo helicopters, at least we are moving forward and we're acquiring new machinery and equipment to prioritize security. Well, in a security-related development, no fewer than 117 repentant terrorists from Borno State have completed the disarmament, rehabilitation, and reintegration program under Operation Safe Corridor at the Malam City camp as the initiative expands to the northwest. An operational update shared on Thursday by the Director of Defense Information, Major General Samaila Uba, was shared at a stakeholders engagement. He stated that modalities are being finalized to transfer rehabilitated clients to national and state authorities for reintegration. The Chief of Defense Staff and Chairman of the OPSC National Steering Committee, General Olufemi Oluyede, represented by the Chief of Defense Operations at the DHQ, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to a whole of government and whole of society approach to peace building and national recovery, describing Operation Safe Corridor as a critical pillar of Nigeria's security architecture, noting that while kinetic operations create space for stabilization, structured rehabilitation and reintegration consolidate those gains and prevent the recycling of violence. It was also disclosed that Benue State has made a formal request for an establishment of a DRR camp where some of these repentant terrorists will be rehabilitated. Just some quick reactions. Bro on X tweeted, peace cannot be built by ignoring trauma or prioritizing reintegration over justice. Without clear safeguards and accountability, such actions risk deepening public mistrust and reopening old wounds. Block Hire also posted and said, well, what's next? Jobs? If they can work and earn money, they won't go back to violence. It's that simple. Let's hope the government has jobs ready for them. Kinetic, non-kinetic, all coming together. Your take on this?
Rehabilitation for terrorists is one of the most polarizing debates in Nigeria. There's some arguments for, strong arguments, and there's some strong arguments against. And we can see in the responses and reaction. The truth is that some of the arguments for is that they are low-risk terrorists and people that they were taken advantage of based on their circumstances. In fact, some were initiated into a life of terrorism, having been captured themselves and radicalized to become terrorists themselves. There are also people as a result of economic circumstances, were led or incited or induced to attract them into a life of crime. However, and then also the cost, that it's cheaper to rehabilitate a terrorist for 52 weeks and de-radicalize them than to spend money on being, keeping them and maintaining them in the correctional services for life. So some of these arguments that there are some people who, if given better opportunities in life, would not resort to a life of terrorism. However, there's also an argument against that for me is quite stronger in the sense that, number one, to what extent can you determine the repentance of terrorists? Would it take a year to determine that this person is now repentant and if presented with an opportunity would not go back to a life of criminality? As we've seen in different examples, including the Fire Massacre, where some of the repentant people that perpetrated the act were repentant terrorists or people who had been absorbed by the communities come back to attack the communities. It has been seen to have failed in Nigeria a number of times. Maybe perhaps as well because some of the fundamental reasons, like the person identified in that tweet, in terms of job provision, infrastructure, poverty levels has not been solved. You cannot bring people, integrate people back to society when you've not solved the, what made a life of terrorism and crime attractive in the first place. Then there's the area of justice. Justice for the people who were killed. Justice for the families of those who have been terrorized and now have to face with the consequence of sadness and disaster. How do you pay for that? So that sense of justice. And then finally, they even said that some of these terrorists who undergo these programs are better treated than even some of the IDP camp members. They are given better treatment than those who are victims of their actions. And so there's that imbalance, and that's why the argument exists, but it has not proven to have worked yet. It's almost a slap on the faces of those who have experienced terrorism or are still experiencing terrorism. It has not worked. That's just the thing.
Well, on the backdrop of that, as we read in that report, the program will be expanding to other states. So speaking on reactions and sentiments regarding the new electoral amendments, some new reactions have come in as well concerning President Bola Tinubu's assent of the controversial amended Electoral Act 2026 on Wednesday, with Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo condemning journalists and activists for representing their personal views as representative of the views of all Nigerians. In a Thursday post on X, Keyamo writes, in part, "It is amusing to see how some journalists and core opposition characters posing as activists continually express their own deep-seated biases as the wish of the Nigerian people. How and where do they aggregate the views of the Nigerian people? Nigerians should be alert as we enter an election season. Some journalists and almost every so-called neutral commentator or activist you see or hear in the media are all working for one interest or the other. They just don't have the guts to come out with their full chest to openly support the political party or candidate for which or whom they are working." Woo, shots fired. Pew, 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 pew. Ayo, let me come to you.
Dr. Bati asked our guest earlier today about the statements made by Mr. Festus Keyamo, and I think I would agree with her sentiment that at some point he also sat on this side of the table of speaking up against what he felt was injustice or unfairness in the way that the government ran the order of the day. At that point, I'm sure he didn't think he was speaking when he was defending the interests of Nigeria, that he was speaking based on particular interests. I think it's important to understand that you need to read the room. He's very active on social media, which represents a key voice of 7 sections. I'm not saying all Nigerians, but we have a large youth population on that platform. Civil society organizations don't act unilaterally. They also represent a group of people, whether it's women's group, disability groups, different groups. They represent these people. So they are not speaking from a personal perspective. He should read the room. He should understand that the fact that people dissent doesn't mean that it is just based on political affiliations that are hidden. This is a democratic dispensation.
How are you going to blame Mr. Keyamo? Isn't it shocking that the same journalist that made him, the same journalist that took his story when the Frayo case happened and the murder of Bola, the same journalist that carries his own side of the story are the ones he's abusing today. The same journalist that put him in the limelight and made him what he is today. The same journalist that he shared their platform to say his own side of the story at that point in time are the same people defending the interests of the people today, and he's going against them because he's in government. Don't worry. He has done 2 administrations. He will finish this term. When he finishes this term, when people leave government, you know how they do. They now change their skin like activists. Dr. Abati, Dr. Abati, at that time too. I saw Dr. Abati, the fire of journalists that time. But now that he has left government, he has not changed his skin.
I've said the truth.
He has not changed back. So Keyamo is still coming back to us.
Because it's not enough to be a journalist. You must be responsible journalism, and you must not misinform.
So Dr. Abati, you see, you're about to
The major messages is that they often say activism is different to governance. Well, let's move on to Osun State. For something lighter, since it's TGIF, Governor Ademola Adeleke is trending online because of a video that's come up where he's seen repeatedly professing his love to the people of Osun State as he was speaking during a rally alongside the Osun State Cooperative Movement in Osogbo on Tuesday. Well, this is how it all went down. Take a look.
I want to tell you Osun people, I love you so much. I say I love you so much. 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 I love you so much.
Isn't that the end? I'm not from Osun State, but I love him too, just because he's sharing love. I love you so much. I love you. 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 Well, you know what? We can all do with a little more love on the campaign trail. Yes. You know, yesterday we were talking about just cooling down the politics, so I'm glad we got something that, you know, just...
When you know that's it, pressure on top of pressure with pressure. I love you people, I love you.
Right. Well, let's quickly move on to milestones, where today we are celebrating the 80th birthday of Senator Florence Itagiwa, fondly known as Mama Bakassi, a woman whose professional record spans across industries in Nigeria's political and civic spheres. Itagiwa was born on the 19th of February in Cross River State. Her father was a traditional ruler, while her mother was one of the pioneering female journalists in southeastern Nigeria. Itagiwa has often credited her mother's career as having contributed to her decision to ultimately enter politics and use her voice for marginalized communities. Her political journey began during Nigeria's Third Republic, where she joined the National Republican Convention Party. She was elected as senator for Cross River South from 1999 to 2003, and upon switching to the PDP, was appointed special advisor to President Olusegun Obasanjo on National Assembly matters. Their bond lasting through the years, with the former president celebrating with her yesterday at her birthday at a hotel in Lagos in beautiful moments of them dancing together. Let's take a look.
Yes, from my thoughts, I will thank all of you. Everybody in this room have been part of my journey. For me, because of the service you render to Nigeria through my frugality, where we serve together. You, as my special advisor, you executive with the legislature from our government. God has made your life live long. I'm particularly happy that you can celebrate you. And when you can celebrate you tonight, shine beauty and dignity. Here I am with you celebrating your age. By the grace of God, I will be around to celebrate your 90. Florence Itagiwa, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
Timeless at 80. How How incredible does she look?
Yes, still able to move around. You see the video, and her outfit was elaborate.
Yes.
Even younger women will find it difficult to walk in it, but beyond, of course, the look on her 80th is her contribution, to fighting for, Bakassi. That's why she's called Mama Bakassi, her service mission.
She's a very good member of the house.
Yes.
And as we say, it has implications.
Yes.
She's very good. Very good. And organizing implications.
Bakassi, we wish you an 80th birthday. However, we await implications. Dr. Abati's words. Now,
my fellow Biafrans, we must continue to follow up, and we must not forget whom we are and why we are here. We are interested in our future. We are interested in our land. We are interested in what is going on, and we will continue to follow them. If they hide them, we will show them. When they say the ones that are not with us, we expose them.
Voice of the People Television, and I am Chukuma Okoro. We are broadcasting on Metro Assault Channel 264 on YouTube and other social media platforms. We are at IPOB TV Live. You can also be a part of this conversation by calling in or sending WhatsApp messages to the numbers putting on your screen. You can also go to the YouTube comment section and let us know your thoughts about the topics of discussion. But I will also advise you to obey the civil and obey community regulations as far as your comments are concerned. Now, on the show today, Nigerians reject new electoral bill hurriedly signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The APC World Congress is marred by violence across states. Arrow stance itself abandons every fight in Spain. Let's bring in our guest. I'm joined by Mr. Darlington Agomo. Mr. Agomo is a lawyer and political person. Good evening, Mr. Agomo, and good to have you on Political Lens. I appreciate your presence. Good evening, Mr. Koran. How are you? I'm very well, sir. Thanks for asking. I appreciate your presence. Good. Now let's get into it. President Bola Tinubu has signed the Electoral Act amended 2026 into law, setting the legal framework for the 2027 general elections, shortly after INEC released the timetable. While he described the National Assembly's work and process as rigorous and patriotic, emphasizing that electronic transmission is not meant to replace. That electronic transmission is meant to complement, not replace, manual voting and collation. While you question Nigeria's broadband readiness for mandatory real-time transmission, telecoms operators under the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria, ALTON, insisted the country has sufficient network coverage to support electronic result transmission nationwide. Opposition parties, including the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and the Labour Party caucus, condemned the swift assent, arguing that removing mandatory real-time transmission creates loopholes. Adewale Adebayo, presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party (SDP) in the 2023 general election, described the amendment as a hatchet job and hinted at constitutional challenges. For socio-cultural groups such as Afenifere and Ohanese People, along with civil coalitions, warned that very failure clauses could enable a return to manual processes and weaken public trust. The National Assembly ultimately retained manual transmission as a fallback, citing infrastructure and security concerns. Former INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Mike Igini cautioned that discretionary network claims could endanger presiding officers, while Elizabeth Okwesili, former education minister, backed in transmission advisor for communal meeting. In contrast, Shehu Sani argued that technology alone cannot ensure credible polls, underscoring that the integrity of the 2027 elections will depend largely on INEC's implementation and possible judicial interpretations. Now, after signing the act yesterday, which already, according to the opposition parties and all of that, civil society organizations, the president said quite a lot after signing. I'd like for us to get a video of the president after what he said after signing the electoral act, so that Barrister Darlington will, fall on that and help us make sense of the signing into law of the new electoral bill and what the president said and the consequences surrounding all of that and the concerns of Nigerians, how all of that will be addressed in the coming days.
At any time or not. And we are all to see democracy flourish. It is time that we have confidence in our system. No matter how good a system is, it's managed by the people, promoted by the people, and the result is finalized by the people. In fact, for further results, you are not going to be talking to the computer, you are going to be talking to families who announce the final results. And when you look at the crux of various arguments, maybe Nigerians question our broadband capability. How technically are we today? How technically will we be tomorrow to answer the call of either real time or not? And as long as you appear personally as a manual voter in any polling booth, but ballot paper is given to you manually, you decide in a corner and fingerprint, thumbprint the party of your choice, you cast your vote without hindrance and any interference. Ballot time substance.
Now there you have it. The president said quite a lot. He said, well, you are not going to be talking to computers, you are going to be talking to human beings, talking about the human angle to the conduct of the elections. And the president said something about, well, we should question, the integrity of our broadband, the strength of it and the connectivity, network connectivity, and all of that. But that's the president hurriedly, according to Nigerians, the president hurriedly signed a new electoral act, why the rush? Because there are times when a particular bill passes through the Senate or the House of Representatives, and after the harmonization and all of that, and like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we are asking questions, what happened to that bill? We are told that, well, it is awaiting the president's action. But this one, in less than 3 hours, despite the pushback, from Nigeria, from civil society organizations, from opposition parties, in fact, some members of even the ruling party, the president went ahead hurriedly within 3 hours and assented to that bill. Why the rush? Do you understand any of it?
Yeah, Mr. Okoro, what I think has happened is that the president got told to where his interest lies. Everything about this administration today is all about 2027. Anything that will give him an advantage, he will not waste a second to take it. And so the electoral act is in tandem with what they have in mind and what is going to happen. So I don't see why he will not sign it. I don't see why. The electronic transmission is there, the manual is there. So they can always, it's open to manipulation. That's just the truth. Like I said, when you hear manual, it's prone to manipulation. That's why they put manual there.
There's a section of the video that we didn't play, and the president was very emphatic, saying that the collection of the result, that in the process of collection, that manual collection was central. More like dismissing the fact that, more like the reversal. Instead of saying that e-transmission should be central and manual as a fallback, the president clearly said that the manual collection will be central and then let e-transmission more like a fallback. Is that what it should be?
No, he's talking to himself because the electoral act did not say so. What I'm now saying is that no matter what he says, everybody already knows where he's going. Like this manual thing I've told you, is subject to what? Manipulation.
People say e-transmission is also subject to hacking, being hacked.
It will not be that simple though. It will not, because the moment you put anything inside the system, all the agents have the copy. All the agents know whatever you are doing there, you're on your own. But this manual now, imagine what will happen if it's an entirely from ECAA, is now brought from somewhere and filmed. Imagine, and then maybe the signature of all these things are now done, you know, the doctor that inserted in it. Will you challenge such a result? You can see.
Barrister, what happened, what went down in the US election in 2016 between Russia and America? They lost the 0%. So do you rule out the fact that, well, if you rely exclusively or almost exclusively on electronic transmission, that there won't be a problem? Like some people are saying, it's also open to compromise. It could be hacked.
Look, one of the reasons why you have government is to be ahead of the criminals who want to sabotage the system. That is why you are government. You must have to be ahead of the criminals who are always trying to sabotage the system. But you must know that you are government. You are smarter. So if you know that such a thing is likely to happen, what are you supposed to do?
How will you know?
How
will you know? Did Obama know America, Russia was compromised in the US election? How does it look like? Or does it mean that Obama wasn't a good president? Or that the American government didn't exist at that point in time?
Look, you learn from what happened to others.
Okay.
With that kind of incident.
Okay.
I do not want to, I think the firewalls are there. All these tech guys who are all over the place. Why not hire them and say, look, nothing must go wrong with this food. Come and protect it for us. Is it not possible? No, tell me now, is it not possible? So, when they are saying all these things, they are just working towards an answer. So that by the time we do now have the say, but we said it now, if you do not agree. Why not provide a safety guard against these things? And in other clans, don't they conduct watertight elections? I mean, watertight, nothing will escape. So those people, I don't know how many that are there. It's not that we are too late on this thing because we don't want to produce a credible election. That's why all these issues are coming from right, left, and center. The electronic transmission will be hacked. The matter can be manipulated. Then what are we going to do? Do we go back to Osman Airport? No, do we go back to Osman Airport then? So that as they are lining up their counting, everybody will see what happened at the spot.
And the problem is not with the voting, the problem is with the collection of
it's the same thing we are talking about. Because the people that are even doing this, we are not even sure of them. The INEC staff.
That's exactly what the president said. The president said you will not be talking to computers, you will be talking to human beings, recognizing the human angle and the conduct of our election.
I am very sure that if nobody dissolve the INEC staff, they are going to do their job. But the situation whereby they are being fully threatened and all that, is used with money. What do you want them to do?
First, let's return to the rush. Now, don't you think that the rush has to do the FCT elections are coming up on Saturday? Don't you think that the president quickly signed it into law so that it will take effect and INEC would use it to test it on, the FCT council election? Don't you think that's the reason for
that was not the intention of that act to use the FCT to destroy it.
It could be happening.
That was not the intention.
A particular election has to be used.
That's what I'm saying.
And probably the president didn't want to miss the opportunity of using this, smaller election coverage to test it. So don't you think it could be the reason for the rush?
If it is so, then thank God for that. But can we take the same measure in other bills that will, or act that will come before you? From the National Assembly.
Well, history starts from a day.
Good. And must not stop in a day. Yeah, history starts in a day, but must not stop in a day. There should be continuity in all, especially the important act of parliament that comes before you. You should not waste time on all those ones. Because I can be very sure there are some acts of parliament before you that you have not signed into law. There are many of them. So, what is he waiting for? So the something that you just interested in this election that is coming. So everything that has to do with it, will in fact, you do everything as long as it will favor you. That's just
Mr. Goma, we'll talk about Nigeria beyond 2027 election. I meant for us to continue to interrogate the president's speech after the signing into law of the new electoral act. Now, the president said that Nigeria does not have broadband connectivity to sustain the transmission of the election result. Isn't that a narrative type on this administration for our own president to come out of national TV, international, because I mean, Reuters and other, everybody globally they were watching. We have international media in that conference, you know, and the president said Nigeria does not have broadband connectivity.
in this age and time.
In this stage and time, isn't that a clear indictment of this?
So if you have a man of 16 in a family, he did not marry, no skill, no education, he's not even doing anything.
Or probably he's married but cannot fend for his family.
How can you not marry when you cannot fend for the family? He's not married.
We see that happen. We see that
they can't marry a wife and give you. You have to
the barrister, you say that so let's assume that if at the analogy you are making that even if he is married, he's unable to fend for his family.
If you cannot be able to fend for your family, what is the essence of your being there?
That's exactly my point now. According to you, Nigeria is sick and we're unable to solve our problem.
And
we have the head of the family telling us, like, well, this is the problem we have, and because we have this problem, we cannot build something on that problem. Instead of having the president have work towards solving this problem before standing
telling us, yes, that will tell you, they don't want you to move forward. Because all these leaders you have today, they are anti-tech. They are anti-technology. I'm not joking, anti-technology. So whatever you are doing now, I remember when during the campaign, one of the presidential candidates was talking about giving statistics, giving data, using it to buttress his points. And the other person say, share na data we go chop. Tell me any modern government that does not use data in whatever they are doing. Just mention that government. Donald Trump is always printing on his phone. Anywhere on his phone. He doesn't wait to get to the office.
But our president says he doesn't let them to social media because when Nigerians insult him, they're very kind of handlers doing all of that.
But if people can insult other people, I mean, why another guy can insult people? Really? You can see. So what I'm saying is that we are not there yet. Seriously, we are not there. Seriously, the type of leadership we have in Africa is an embarrassment on this one. An embarrassment. Because most of them, they are not cut out for leadership. They don't happen to stumble on leadership. Have the issue. They are not supposed to lead anybody because they don't know what is governance. They don't know. That's why when they make statement, they don't even look at the implication and the import. They don't open their mouth and talk anyhow. That the giant of Africa in this age and time does not have a broadband, does not have even light income. You made a detail, you have told the whole world that we have only 4,000 megawatts of electricity. So there's no light giving power to the system. If the others are doing it, and the people will clap for him.
Very sad. Very sad. It sounds so funny, and I don't want to laugh.
Whatever is going to, you can't cheerleader. Whatever you say, they will clap.
Even at the signing ceremony, after signing it, everybody was clapping. And Nigerians were questioning why would all those number of people gather there, just for the president to accept to a bill? The Senate president and the Speaker of the House of Representatives would have just been okay, for him to sign. Meanwhile, people had to abandon their responsibilities elsewhere, just to come when the president signs. So what does that tell you about?
They don't have any responsibility. That is why they spend the whole time on this bill. Something that would have done under 1 hour without anybody taking it. So this is what they wanted to do, and they spent all that time bickering and shouting and making noise. They don't have anything doing.
Okay, now when the National Assembly came up with the scheme that we cannot follow this track now because we have network connectivity problem. The Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria has said no, it is not true. We have the capability, to conduct and in fact use the e-transmission as a tool in the conduct of our election. So if we have this association that technically is in charge of the base, of this problem, of the base of this structure, and we have people that are coming from outside and say, no, what you have cannot serve us, and the people that say what you have can serve you. First, why do you have this one and this disconnect?
Because government want to listen to what they want to listen to. If not, are they not supposed to call all these tech guys, all the networks, invite them to the house, question them before the whole world, let them tell us. Is that not how it's done? So that from their own statement and from their own assistance, we will not know what to do. But they don't want to call them because they know that they are going to get an embarrassing answer. The networks are ready. They have said it that they can cover the whole Nigeria. They have said it. So why didn't you invite them to confirm what you are saying? The 9 states that Akpabio told us that where are they? Which are the 9 states? He mentioned them, but he didn't call the network to come and validate it. So that tomorrow we can use what they said. But we know that he cannot do that. That will amount to a suicide mission. Because no network can come to and tell you that we cannot cover Sokoto, we cannot cover Meduguri. No network. All of them are ever ready because they are making their money as they are using their services. So why would they tell you that they can cover where? Okay, these terrorists that are doing safety and content creating in the bush, it's okay. What are they using to do it? Is it spirits? Or are you not seeing them? Inside the bush. I mean, within forest, maybe forest that nobody has entered in the land.
You recall that at some point, Daniel Bwala told Nigerians that we cannot get it because there is Starlink, and Starlink is a network that Nigerian operators don't have access to. There is Starlink.
Are you serious?
No, that's what Daniel said.
So how did they now get connected to their own network? So when
the Daniel Bwala said that,
the matter, you see, it's not enough for them to say. Interrogate what they are telling you. I said, who interrogated it?
No, you are interrogating it now. But at least you heard him.
For you to get the connectivity, the other end must have access to you.
The back end.
I'm telling you. Can you not bring such a technology here and it start working? No connectivity.
My direct question now. Didn't you get Daniel Bwala?
If you said it, who are you talking about? This man that speaks with 3 mouths. No, this man that is now the person you want people to listen to. What have he told you that is real? Remember what he told you about it?
You raised the issue of why terrorists and bandits are doing self.
It is not true.
I just volunteer probably
I said it is not true. They are using our network.
Okay, not
that's the one he told us. He would have even told us how did it work? How did you know that this is the network they are using? When Aerofiles go through that, we listen to them, we hear them, we see them, we listen to their conversation. So how do you explain that?
Maybe you know that Aerofiles is in the house stuff now. Those people that have phones.
The guy is living a tech group. They should have employed him instead of a group.
No, for instance, since the president ascended to that place yesterday, in the middle of history, Nigerians have been taking opposition political parties, PDP, SDP, Labour Party, ADC, those are obvious personally, people have been taking. Do you think that any level of pressure would make the president or the National Assembly to issue?
No, it's not possible.
So as far as you're concerned,
as far as PDP is concerned, because it's the one that
so no level of pressure, even if Nigerians go to the National Assembly or the streets, Nigerians pour into the streets. You think that president will not change his mind?
No Nigerian is falling into it.
So I better assume.
I said it can never happen. Don't assume what can never do. This opposition, they are not good.
But America is also assuming what what's going
on. Because we have seen it now. We have seen it.
You are the one seeing it.
Because
last week Nigerians were the president of the National Assembly.
How many of them?
So what tells you that they can't?
How many of them?
Because it matter.
I was expecting 2 million people there.
There could be an overflow next time it happens. What if there's an overflow? So you think the president will not?
We can no longer go backward. We must move forward. And I said that when you talk about change, the only thing that can bring a lasting change in this country is the implementation of the national conference that all Nigerians gathered to come up with a document and say that if we begin to do things this way, we will change this country for better. These people who are talking about change refuse to participate. They say they will not implement it. So what change are they bringing? Every time you listen to them, you see the bitterness in their hearts. Bitter, anger, as if somebody has taken their property. Venom. And I said that, look, you cannot give what you don't have. If you don't have a peaceful heart, a friendly heart, you cannot bring peace to people. For you to bring peace, you must be somebody who can forgive. Somebody who brings peace. Not somebody who asks you to go and kill that will bring peace. It will bring crisis to us. Especially now that society is so sophisticated and small light arms and small weapons are all over the place. You set this country ablaze. And we will not go back to those primitive days. This country must move forward.
So he became more security conscious. For 1 year to reinforce defense. So immediately Ojukwu left. That was the end of the war.
More or less, yes. There was no more resistance. War is about resistance. There was no more resistance. Painfully, so there was no more resistance.
So he left knowing that Philip Effiong was going to hand the instrument of surrender to Nigeria.
That was obvious. That was obvious because the resistance had been broken. There was no more coordinated resistance. And despite Colonel Joachim's attempts, there was no way. So he had to go into himself.
Some said he ran away.
No, he didn't run away. Emeka didn't run away. To run away means there was an obvious danger, yes. But it was organized. He had to leave.
From which airport?
Some said Uli, some said Oga, but I think he used Oga.
Why did he leave through Uli Airport?
Uli Airport was under bombardment by Egyptian piloted Russian beats. Remember that we are not fighting Nigeria alone. That's what people don't know. We're fighting almost the entirety of Arab world. Emeka likes to call them Pan-Arabism.
You know, if you read the Ahiyara declaration,
yes,
he said the Biafran struggle,
yes,
was against Pan-Arabism.
It's Pan-Arabism. He knew. And Uli was under serious bombardment. So why should when we have other airports, we had one at Okiwe side.
This is from Biafrans Got Talent. We are letting Biafrans know the reason why we should remember those who gave their lives for us, those who died that we may live.
You died to end my suffering. You died fighting for my freedom. Your blood is
shout out them. 67 to 70, we remember them. 2016, 38 May, memory still lives in our mind till today. Wonder why they refuse to publicize the genocide. The world media turn blind eyes to our plight. It's time to arise, land of the rising sun. Let's rise one more time, let's rise.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright. Tell them I touched me. Remember when me tell you say I touched me. Yeah, I remember that what I called as a Bruce Mero. Like a papa nuku, but them we boniro. Me tell you what I look pandi, what pandi samiro. Me tell you what I day. For me the fella, the rest of man I tell you what I do. Me no back and forth. Me tell them
heroes, I want to promise you something today. We must fight together, no retreat and no surrender. We must hold them down till the end of time. The most important thing is that we will restore Biafra.
I look up to the sky with tears in my eyes for other Biafrans and for freedom had to die. We will never forget you as the days go by. You are always in my heart, we'll never be apart. They fought for our freedom, they died for our freedom. They fought the Nigerian soldiers in the war front without food, without guns, for our freedom, for our life, for our own good, for our children. We love them, our heroes, we want them.
My heart bleeds when I saw them slain. Where will I be now if not then? They will remain indelible in my heart forever, 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 and never, and never, and never.
We serve in your plantation, and the way you paid us back with your bloody starvation. We play in our history that the death of my people is a mystery. No going back to get to a victory. I had a voice now call for vengeance. I never get bombed, I'ma blow like a vengeance.
Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Those who gave their life for us. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Where will I be now? If not you, you died at Mali.
They were starved to death because of our freedom, and they paid the debt for our freedom. Flag high for those that died in the genocide, fighting for you and I. There is pain in the heart, we bleeding inside, tears in the eyes, so I'm following you.
This is for my fallen heroes. Give them a motivation, people. It's like I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Cause we to be a cast, I need to be a nurse. If we did not retire,
They paid the ultimate price. They died for me, for the freedom of my unborn child. We live for the legacy. Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright. Yo, we will never forget our fallen heroes. Onitsha massacre, Iwata massacre, Aba massacre. We remember you. Alright.
Yeah, put the flag in the air. Never be afraid. March on, cause we are more than conquerors. Yeah,